Hello, it's me again. It is June the 11th. Yesterday, I celebrated my daughter's 45th birthday. Yeah, 45. That means she's middle aged officially. I think that's what it means. Anyway, happy birthday to my beautiful firstborn daughter. Um, the reason I'm on today is because I want to endorse two channels. Well, three, I think. Um, for my Canadian viewers, you need to watch Jasmine Lane, especially yesterday's episode, June 10th episode, where she's discussing what was happening in the conference that's going on in Russia. I think it's an equivalent conference to the Davos conference uh, for Russia and people that are friendly with Russia. Um, where the elites get together and discuss and plan for how they're going to approach the world at large. I think that's what it's about, whatever is going on in Russia this week. But apparently last night, there was an official from Russia who made a statement regarding Canada. And Jasmine Lane is reporting a version of what has been going on, what that statement sort of implied. Now, I'm just going to give you my interpretation of what happened based on what the translated version was, according to Jasmine Lane. But I invite everybody to first tune into Jasmine Lane's episode and her station, because she's got all the links and all the resources for people to validate what I'm saying is either true or maybe possibly I'm misinterpreting things. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. But I think it's an important topic to share, and it needs to be investigated by all of the Canadian podcasters and American podcasters and worldwide podcasters to see exactly what's going on. Because my concern as a result of this Russian lady's verbiage, if it's correct, and she's saying that Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, is targeted as a manufacturer of drones to supply the Ukrainians in their war effort, which my impression of that means that Canada is officially being called out by Russia as an enemy combatant in a war that's active now in the Ukraine, between the Ukraine and Russia, by virtue of the fact that Carney has made a deal to produce drones that are meant to be used in warfare on behalf of the Ukraine. Now, I know as a Canadian citizen, I never voted for Canada to support Ukraine in any war in any way. Ever. Never. I never voted for even one nickel of Canada's tax dollars to be spent and sent over to the Ukraine for its war efforts. In my opinion, based on what I have known and heard about the leader of the Ukraine, Zelensky, is a Trudeau-like, unqualified person who is a dictator, drug addict, actor, failed in all aspects. My opinion, based on what he was before he became appointed by the likes of people like Kamala Harris, you know, the drinker from the United States who ran for president of the United States when the demented, excuse me, the guy who had no cognizant awareness that was president had to be forced into letting her run for president against Trump. You guys want to blame Canadian, my fellow Canadians. You want to blame anybody for the shit show that Canada is? Could you please look at the Democratic Party in the United States? Biden and the likes of Kamala Harris. What's that other clown's name that was running Minnesota? Those kinds of people that are bought and paid for, my opinion, bought and paid for, to destroy the world, to replace the demographics of every country that was free with knife-wielding terrorists with no vetting whatsoever. That brings me to the second reason I'm talking today. Yes, I've got Jesus over my shoulder. I don't know. Jesus would never approve of me swearing. But I think Jesus might approve of me saying something about what's going on. Because I don't think Jesus would stand by and let people get subjected to the kind of warfare that might come if, in fact, it's true. My spidey senses are tingling. I'm just saying. I don't want to be an ally to the Ukraine. I'd like to help the Ukrainian people. But that was a manufactured war. And they're trying to accelerate that war into a world war because the globalist pigs are trying to control the world and get their property back. All those elitists that we have been warring since the beginning of time, responsible for World War I, responsible for World War II, and every war ever since, because they want their property back and they want the resources and they want to control the populations of every planet, every country in the world, so that they can make all the money. Do you think the King of England, intergenerational wealth, happens by accident? No, it's by design. These countries, France, using our cathedrals that the Pope, a long time ago, sold out to the government of France to be used as something other than religious temples. Tut. Stop arresting Catholics for praying outside of Catholic freaking cathedrals because you're desecrating Catholic cathedrals and churches with satanic art. What would Jesus do, I wonder? Didn't he overturn tables in the temple in Jerusalem? Anyway, back to it. So, the other problem that I have, and I need to talk about, is I'm a foster mother of some Sudanese men that waited forever to come to Canada in a United Nations camp in Ghana. They waited forever. They were Sudanese single men. They came to Canada, thanks be to God, by virtue of the Archdiocese of Toronto's program back in the day to help refugees who needed the help and sponsorship through the Churches of Canada and the Archdiocese of Toronto. As a result of that program, it was called the ORAT program. As a direct result of that program, my church and the churches affiliated within the Archdiocese of Toronto were able to help these 9 Sudanese men who were whiling away their whole entire lives in a United Nations camp in Ghana. They were able to get to Canada prior to the Trudeau indoctrination and over Trudeau infiltration of the government of Canada and the selling out of Canada to the globalist movement and Chinese government. In my opinion, that's what Trudeau was positioned into our prime ministership to do, is to enact all these retarded laws and change the Canadian way of living in order to prepare for the war that is supposed to take place, that the globalists were preparing for to start in 2016. But Trump postponed that war. Trump's election postponed that war that was supposed to take place. Because believe you me, Hillary Clinton was sold, in my opinion, already made her deals with the globalist movement, and the United States would have been in Canada's boat. Believe you me, there is a reason why a brain dead president of the United States used an auto pen to sign off the rights of every American citizen that pre-existed 2020. And now you have mass fraud from foreigners that stealing all of your tax dollars. And California, there's no chance of California having any kind of legal election. That's why Californians, born people, have been fleeing California forever. There's no chance unless somebody gets a brain cell and people and Trump is able to correct the fraudulent use of these senators and congressmen to rig elections the way they've been doing all over the world for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. My opinion. But it sure looks that way. And if you're a thinking person and you don't feel like that there might be some truth in what I'm saying, well then, keep your head in the sand like the ostriches. Unfortunately, ostriches don't do well in Canada. They were all murdered by the government, thanks to the World Health Organization's dictate. Those ostriches, they were a perfect answer to any man-made disease process, because they were being used and studied for a vaccine that was actually going to do something other than kill the person that receives them. The genetic vaccine, the RNA vaccines that Moderna made their deal with Trudeau, all of that shit's coming out in the United States. Canadians don't know about it. They're not allowed to. And most Canadians apparently would rather get their news from the liars on Global, CTV, CBC, and the likes. They don't want to look at Canadian podcasts and real news people that are trying to warn them. They would rather be quiet and keep their mouths closed and hide under the rock until the Nazis come hunting for them to put them in the concentration camps that will kill them. They have concentration camps, all over the world, particularly in China, but apparently we're not allowed to know about that. The Uyghurs, those people? They've all been arrested and held in concentration camps, and they're used for organ harvesting. According to the news sources that I've been watching, I believe it might be, there's more truth to that than the fact that the Chinese government is treating the people fairly. That it's a democratic society. Justin Trudeau himself said that he admires the communist or regime of China because of its dictatorship and its ability to control its population. And we elected him as our prime minister. How crazy are we? How crazy are we? Anyway, those 9 men that came from a Sudanese United Nations camp to Canada prior to the debacle that was Trudeau and now the globalist movement and whoever's running Canada, Carney and his, like, these people, Carney, corporate, the Carney Corporation that's making money off selling out Canada to the globalists and the Chinese. Well, now, he's building drones in Hamilton, building drones to use as weapons against Russia. And Russia is aware of it. Russia is calling out Canada and Hamilton as a target. I don't know what target means to you people, but the word target means that you're a bullseye. Somebody's going to be shooting at you. Do we want Russia shooting at Canadian companies because they're building drones to be used in war that we're not a part of? We're supposed to not be a part of. We're supposed to be a peace-loving country. Don't you think it's time to do something about arresting Mark Carney? Arrest that man. That man needs to be arrested. He's doing insider trading. He's making money off of our tax dollars. And he's doing evil things. As our prime minister, if we don't do something about what he's doing to our country, Canadian-born people are lost. We're in the middle of a replacement. We are being replaced. Just like they're replacing the population of Europe, of Great Britain, of Scotland. Maybe, I don't know. Scotland doesn't seem to be as in bad a shape as Ireland. But what happened in Ireland? A deranged man from Sudan. Sudan is a failed country. They know no laws. They have no laws. They don't know what they're doing. Somalia doesn't have any. Congo, the DRC, or whatever they call themselves these days, these places are lawless. They don't have any understanding of a free, law-abiding society. And yet, we have been importing these people without any kind of vetting, without any kind of evaluation of their criminal records or what they've been doing in their home countries. Is it any surprise then, therefore, that somebody like in the UK, these Sikh people who've been indoctrinated by virtue of the Great Britain government, the people like, what's his name? Starmer, saying it's against the law to be racist against people who are wielding knives against you. It's racism to say, no, we don't want you in our country wielding knives and machetes because you come from a country where it's okay to kill. You need a knife to protect yourself. That's the problem with this poor man who came from Sudan. He's deranged. He shouldn't be in friggin' Ireland. He should be in Sudan. He should never be in Ireland because he got a problem. He wasn't vetted. He was allowed to come into that country. Is it any surprise that something set him off and he did what he's conditioned to do in a war-torn country that has no legal rule of law? The Sudanese children, I call my children my sons, every one of them, beautiful men, beautiful people, raised in a United Nations camp because they came from a failed state. Haitian people, too. Failed state, run by mobsters, run by criminals, run by people who have no rule of law. They have no care or regard for human life. And Ireland is inundated with them. Is it any surprise? Is it a surprise? But that's the government of Ireland that is allowing for that to happen. The government, the poor people that are there because they thought, oh, we're going to get a free house. That's what they were told. Ask any of them. We get paid an income, we get food, we get a place to live, and we get to live free the way we want to. Who wouldn't come to a country when they're living in a war-torn place where they can't even get a clean glass of water to drink? Who wouldn't do it? It's time, people. The world needs to know. People are inherently good. They just want to live. But you cannot expect somebody who comes from a intergenerational war-torn country to be transplanted into a civilized nation that has rules and laws, where people are not armed. They're not. We don't need to be. My Sudanese beautiful men, we had a talk one day, and I found out that they were carrying knives. They carried knives because they didn't feel safe without a weapon, even in Canada back in those days. That was pre the Toronto nightmare, Trudeau nightmare, and of course that clown that what did they call it? A meme. She married Jack Layton and she figures she's got a brain cell. She's evil. NDP evil woman that runs Toronto. You thing. Why did the Toronto people elect that thing? I don't know. But she's a clown act. She dresses like a clown. She is a clown and she's mentally retarded. Really simple. Not very smart. Not smart at all. Look at what Toronto's become under her watch. What did Doug Ford became Premier of Ontario based on his brother's reputation. His brother had a brain. His brother was a man. He was stupid. He got involved with crack. He wanted to be a man of the people, whatever caused it. He did more for Toronto in the short term that he was Toronto mayor than anybody else ever did. He was a good person. And they drummed him out and they tortured him until he was eaten alive by cancer because he was doing right for Toronto. Trump is a lot like that guy. No, Trump isn't a substance user, no. But he's smart. I'm worried that his ego may have gotten the better of him. I hope that's not true. I hope he's still working on behalf of the people. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on in Armenia. Is it Armenia? Oh, with that sanctuary that was a sanctuary and now is going to be a resort. But none of my business. I don't care about that. As long as you're not killing people. As long as they're not displacing people. As long as they're not invading the land with murderers and killers that have known no other way of life. You know, let the people of the land decide whether or not it's okay for them to have that resort. But the point is, people, please try to understand. Even if the people that have invaded your land, the country, the people who have invaded Canada after 2017, when the Liberal government decided to replace the Canadian population with these people that would do as they're told and keep voting them in. The people that invaded the UK, whenever they started being used to keep the globalist leaders in power, to destroy the born people of the countries and replace the societies with people who will do as they're told. Try to understand. It isn't racism to be angry. You have a right to be angry. You wouldn't let somebody come into your home, shit on your floor, tell you how to run your household from another country, even your neighbor. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Your leaders, your government leaders, are the ones who you want to hold to account. It's time to get those government leaders to hold them to account in a lawful way, in a peaceful way. They must deport everybody that hasn't gone through a vetting process immediately from the land that they've invaded, they've used to invade and replace the population. That should be job number one. Deport these expatriates of other nations back to their land and have them go through a proper vetting process before they're allowed to come back. That's, I think, should be the job number one of every country. Maybe Ireland would be the first to start that. Ireland, perhaps, the UK, Canada, the Canadians. They've been freeloading for so long they don't even know how to function for themselves, think for themselves. They've been freeloading. Working, the only job that pays the bills is a government job. Our children have all been indoctrinated to hold the hand out. Government, help me. Government, raise me. Government, raise me. Government, show me the way to go. Well, you're going to be shown the way to go to a premature death and slavery, because that's why Canada exists. We were escaping premature death and slavery from the countries that we came from when we originated Canada way back when, and the United States. We were slaves too. The indigenous population of Canada is me. Me. My lineage goes back to its very foundation. No. The United Nations doesn't get to decide who's indigenous to Canada. The United Nations should be disbanded, and every nickel paid back to the countries that gave them money. Every nickel that was ever given to the World Health Organization returned to the country of origin, because they've been misusing that money, you see, to try to take over the world and to destroy free countries on behalf of their leaders, their masters, the globalists, the elites, the kings and queens, the oligarchs. Now, Canada, prepare for war. Do we have a military? I don't think so. Who is going to fight for us against Russia? The Ukraine? Europe? I don't think so. And I dare say, Mr. Carney, spitting in the face of our American brothers and sisters is not the way to go, you idiot. Make amends. Stop producing war machines in Hamilton. Apologize to Russia. Stop sending our hard-earned tax dollars to the Ukraine, the World Health Organization, and the United Nations, and give it back to the Canadian citizens who were born here. Deport everybody who came without proper vetting from 2017 on back to their country of origin until we figure out who belongs in Canada. We don't want people being beheaded in our streets and slaughtered. We want them to be civilized. We don't want them shitting on our beaches. We don't want them polluting our transit system. We don't want them overwhelming our land masses and our housing opportunities and our welfare system. We can't feed our own. It's not racist. It's survival. I love my brothers and sisters all over this world. If you've been fortunate enough to stay in Canada, Take what you've learned from Canadian society and how to behave back to your country of origin. And if you have an electoral process, figure out how to do it legally, without corruption, and elect people that will act on the behalf of the people of the country. Don't take these monsters that run Canada, these evil monsters that are running Canada, the Jolies, the McGinty's, the bought and paid for pigs who've made fortunes by selling out the people and the country that they were born to. And leave the peaceful people. My Sudanese children, these beautiful men, do not deserve to be lumped into the same category as these people that have been invading our country since 2017. These are beautiful people. They had the right to enjoy the Canada that was. They earned it by waiting and adapting to Canadian culture. Justin Trudeau said we didn't have one. We do. It's Christian. Not Muslim. It's Christian. And we're going to be murdered. Because we always are the first to be murdered. No, it's not the Jews that are first to be murdered. We don't believe in murdering people. Christians don't. All life matters. Even the one that's killing you. That's what Christians believe. Don't take Jesus out of your society. If you've been lucky enough to have Jesus form your society. Because when you do, it becomes chaos. That's true. I love you all. I'm praying. Please, somebody, listen. And if you're in power, if you're a politician and you have power, do something to stop this from happening. All over the world it's happening. Do not let these monsters who will sacrifice the lives of their population in order to get what they want because they're greedy. France, Europe, UK, Australia, Netherlands, New Zealand, Canada, Greenland. Greenland, my God, I'd be afraid. I'd be very afraid. Because that's a very strategic island up there. Call your MPs, call your political leaders, and make it stop. Make it stop. Figure out a way to get rid of the oligarch, the implanted leader who is destroying your country. Have them imprisoned. Have their authority removed from them until they have some kind of accountability set in place. Stop everything. The World Health Organization, cease and desist immediately. United Nations, cease and desist immediately. Immediately. These are constructs, tools for war. I believe it's true. I'm asking somebody to please look into it. God bless you all. Have a good day.